First game of the day, Time versus Snute, some TVZ action for us here. Let's see what's going to be happening. To the bottom, right-hand side of the map, let's just save myself from correcting myself, and then I just mentioned it anyway, so what does it even matter? To the bottom right-hand side, our red Zerg player from Team Liquid. Let me hear it, guys, if you're going to be cheering on Snute. And to the top of the left, we're going to have our blue Terran player, 16 years old, from China, playing in his home country. How is he going to do today? How is he going to make himself kind of appear to the foreign audience? Because I know for a fact this guy's very good. I see it when I cast the Doyu Star Masters, Leifeng Cups that he plays in. Let's see if he can bring himself his A game today. It is going to be time to the top left-hand side of the map. Right away here, Snute opens with that spawning pool first, which on this map is probably something along the lines of just saying, hey, guess what, guys? I'm a little bit afraid of like a 3-rack sweeper play, so I'm immediately going to drop my pool down. I'm immediately going to get set up to defend anything like that that might come my way here. So just going to have access to slightly faster queen, maybe a couple of lings will run around the map and try and deny this command center from building for a little while, which is inevitably going to be what's going on here from Time. Without adding extra barracks for the 3-rack sweeper play, this is just going to be a Reaper expansion. Could be a reactor expand as well, but no, it's going to be a Reaper. It makes a lot more sense generally, especially on this map. So many ups and downs. I mean, it's probably one of the better maps for Reapers. I mean, it is one of the better maps for Reapers in the map pool. That's why 3-rack sweeper is so popular on this map, because not only do you have this ledge to abuse over here and over here, but you also have these ledges over here and over here, so if you do get chased away, you still have extra escape paths with the Reapers. So, good map for Reaper, and we're going to be seeing that Reaper expand opening as it does start up them 2 Zerglings, so let's keep an eye on this. Now, he didn't make a super fast, pair of Zerglings here, and I don't think he's going to send them across the map to try and delay that command center, so I think he's probably just going to keep them at home and use them to defend against the Reaper, because again, he could have started these so much earlier if he did want to send them across. So just going to get 2 Zerglings out, going to get them to the edge here as well. Maybe just see if anything is there. Make sure there's not like a bunker or anything built in case it's like a proxy Reaper play that he just hasn't scouted yet. So just making sure as we see this Reaper popping up in towards the main base, and straight away queen there to grid it. That's the advantage of a pool first. You do get a queen out already when that Reaper first arrives. And we see immediately Time actually pulls back. He's like, okay, you've gone pool first. I'm afraid there's 2 Zerglings currently making their way around the edge of the map, perhaps going to come and trying to delay this command center from building. So he begins to pull the Reaper back. When he gets to the point where he's like, well, actually, there just isn't any Zerglings arriving, he actually sends it back across the Snoot side of the map. So that's a cool little thing that you can notice there, just as a reaction to what he identifies as now a pool first play, because he sees how early that first queen is. So Reaper just popping back up, going to see another grenade going down, and again, just sort of scouting, trying to get some information. He doesn't get much so far. He gets some information now, though. He does find out that there's no further gas mining, so he'll know that this is just going to be some Zerglings potentially early on, but other than that, he's fairly safe to just macro up as he wishes to do so. The Zerg player definitely not going to be doing anything too crazy. And the lack of a third base for now, just because he invested into that Nubitized Carapace early, which is about to finish up. And so he has to delay his hatchery a little bit to be able to afford that extra gas, which he did mine for that upgrade. Upgrade, of course, will give him the opportunity to move in towards the main base here, and that's exactly what Snute is going to do. Straight into the main base, and he's just going to try and identify what is going on. And, I mean, let's talk about it. We haven't really mentioned what Time is doing at all on his own side of the map, but it is this classic kind of double medevac 16 Marine stim job, which is on the way up. Second rack's coming down very early as Snute tries to poke the front. Second Rex comes down early, starts up stim, there's a reactor onto the starport, and so the medevacs will start coming out here in the next few moments. I'm just going to be seeing, a couple of medevacs on the way up, and just plenty of Marines on the way out basically from Time. So plenty of Marines on the way out from Time, and he will be looking to put on a lot of pressure with this early build order. Now, one of his goals with this build order, well, probably to keep Snute busy, obviously trade as best he can, force some units. His command center, his third command center, will be very delayed if he takes it at all. I mean, some players like to actually go for a 2-base all-in off of this, so that is going to be a possibility here. But for the most part, he's looking to delay some creep spread. He's really looking to just keep Snute kind of active on the map and keep looking for openings. And that's something you can do very well if you continue to kind of be active with medevacs. If you add on a medevac and a Viking now, another medevac comes into play, and you can drop with that as well. It's very, very frustrating. Now, we actually see a tech lab coming down, which suggests that Time is going to go into the siege tank follow-up. So that means he's going to go into 2 siege tanks, and he's going to make a secondary push after these first 2 medevacs, where he's going to come in with 2 tanks and a bunch of Marines once again to try and get some further damage done. So we'll keep our eyes open for that. Snute, basically, he's ready to kind of deal with this first wave of aggression. Roach is coming into position. I mean, he just has a kind of sixth sense for the time's going to come in from this angle. And we're going to be seeing time coming up that ramp right now. Immediately starts to get a Queen, but Queen does pull away. And he will force the lift. This is a nice thing about this map, though, and against Roach-based players especially. You can't just jump into that main base, but Snute has the Queens, he pulls them in, and he uses those to turn those Medivacs away. Snute, as we said, for him it's all about batting the aggression away, making sure he doesn't take too much damage. And if he can do that, he's going to find himself in very strong positions throughout this series, and he's doing just that so far in game number 1. Femuri's just going to stim up this ramp, and we are going to see a Queen going down now, as we see. That's about it though, as we'll have that Rudder Mine gonna go off. Isn't the end of the world though, a little bit of splash damage. Roaches will slowly regenerate, or you can even morph in a Ravager to speed things up. And that's a nice little addition as well. Again, back at home time, he's got the second tank about to pop out, and that should be his time to start moving across the map for this larger attack. We are going to see his third command center coming in behind this, and his upgrades also now starting, so he will take a bit of an upgrade lead. Snute only on the single evolution chamber right now, as his lair is continuing to come up. Now, the position that we're probably going to see time abuse here, considering he's positioned towards the center, is the classic sort of put your two tanks in this little corner down here, and then they're very safe from anything other than really kind of corrosive bile shots. They're very safe from roaches closing the distance to them, though, and that can be very important as we see. Oh, a Ravager gets caught there by the Rudder Mine. That's actually really important because a Ravager's 100 gas. That's the one less corrosive bile which Snute now has to help him hold off this attack. He's up on 70 drones, so he has to make sure he's ready to fight against this. As we'll see him just buying time. This is good. I mean, you don't want to take a fight if you don't have to straight away. Now he's going to start coming in here. He's going to start fighting this. Roach is moving forward. The Bile's forcing the Medivacs to pull back a little bit as well as time. It's trading fairly well right now. Snute needs a few more reinforcements to come in here as Queens are going to be pushed back. And there's only 2 Medivacs remaining right now, though. So that's something which time has been starting to lose. And as we see the last few Marines starting to go down, we will see Snute pushing this back in the end. So Snute pushes this back. He was well prepared, really. I mean, he loses 6 drones. But when you consider all things said and done, he's still 12 workers ahead. You know, and his opponent's third base is only just now landing. And he cleaned up all those Marines as well, right? So, for Snute, this wasn't so bad at all. I think it was actually, once again, a very solid defense where he hasn't really taken much damage. He got rid of a couple of Medivacs as well. And that really delays the Terran player from being able to move around the map with kind of more drops. I mean, the less Medivacs there is, the less likely he is to go into a heavy Liberator count as early because he probably wants to rebuild that Medivac count. And while Liberators aren't going to be something he necessarily needs for the next couple of moments, or next couple of minutes, it is still going to affect you a little bit later on. I mean, kind of, you know, there's a very fine line about when you get your Liberators out in this matchup. Now, against Snute, it doesn't matter so much because he does play Roach Ravager for a lot longer than most players, so you don't need the Liberators as soon, but it is something which, you know, if Snute kind of does throw down a Ultra Cavalry, which he might do. I mean, he's actually getting +1 melee upgrades. Then he might very well just kind of find his opponent making a couple too many Medivacs. Overall, just still positioned off to the right-hand side here. You've got 2 tanks from time, just sort of set up towards the upper left-hand side, and we've got 2 more just coming back there. So it's interesting then. Snute going for that melee upgrade again. Very suggestive that he will indeed just go for off of the Hive Tech, but at least Adrenal Glands and probably the Ultra's Cavern as well. So Snute not going to play his standard style here. He's not going to play a sit back Roach Ravager Infester for hours on end. He's going to play this aggressively. He's going to play this as the more in the more common kind of play style. So I'm intrigued to see how this turns out as we have this push coming down the left side from time. So obviously he's looking to push here with, well, he doesn't really have any sort of upgrades he's lining up with this attack. He's just saying, I feel as though you're going to be on Ultralisk soon, and so this is my better time to attack right now. Now Snute, he's got fungal growths available. And he will start to take some damage on his 4th base, though, but he's going to come down for a bit of a surround. He's going to come from the bottom side, he's going to come from the top. And here we go, Snute, as he hits a great fungal growth and bile combination on multiple Medivacs to the southern side of this. He's going to keep on swooping in. The tanks are starting to fall. There's not enough Medivacs to pick all of them up. Only 3 of them are going to get away here. And Snute, once again, finds himself defending very, very easily against this aggression. I mean, you look at this, and he really was just sort of... Every single point of this game so far has been so prepared, been so ready to deal with what his opponent is going for. Now he's got an Ultralisk on the way up, Kindness Plating 2, so that Ultra Switch is well underway. So we're getting towards that Ultralisk switch, and Snute just hits an even stronger part of the game for himself, where time is in a bit of trouble, because time has been trading not so badly. Like, it's, resources lost is fairly even. But now time has to start preparing against Ultralisks. He has to start preparing for the next stage of this. And my problem for time is he doesn't have a 4th command center. He's probably reliant on moving this main base over to the 4th. That's not going to happen for a while. He's only just now starting Liberator production as the first ultras are popping. And Snute still has a couple of infestors as well, so with a couple of fungal growths, those ultras could get a lot done onto that bio army if it's caught in position and can't kite backwards. And we're seeing those few tanks being lifted up once again. I mean, Time just says, well, my 2-2's finishing, let's just go for one more push. But again, he's pushing at just the wrong timing now. I mean, 2-2 is usually the sort of time you see people attack with. But with this build order, your upgrades are a little bit delayed. So he's, gone for that first push, which is kind of the usual sort of 2-2 push, only without 2-2. And now, he's going to kind of push again, but he's going to be running into Ultras. So I'm not sure about this. I think it's actually the time in the game where Time needs to sit back, relax. Well, maybe not relax, but sit back, build up Liberators, build up Ghosts, take a 4th base, and start to play a bit more defensively, because the Zerg is at their strongest right now. They have just hit Hive Tech. They've just got Ultralisks. This is when the Zerg army is at its best against the Terran army. Because it's just the timing window that kind of takes place. We're going to see one Liberator setup. We'll see multiple Corrosive Battles coming in to try and help against that. We do see the Ultras going down pretty swiftly there, but they do end up closing the gap still towards the end, and there's just so much Roach Ravager behind it. A Fungal Growth or two helps out, and we are going to see once again Snute just pushing his back very easily. The Ultras did go down a lot more quickly than I thought they would, but I mean, the thing is, the Ultras went down, but they still did their job. By the time the Ultras went down, the Terran army was dead because the Roach Ravager was still behind it, and there still is so many Ravagers here. And that's one of the strengths of this kind of composition, that there is so many Ravagers to use those battles with to get rid of siege tanks, to get rid of potential Liberators and so on. GG going to be called here. Time going to tap on out of game number 1, and Snute is going to go 1-0 up in this best of 3 series here in the Neo Star League International 2016. He'll already get himself $400 in the bank, and of course, the chance to play a game free as well. So, let's see how this goes. We're going to be starting to the top left-hand side of Frost for map number 2. Is our blue Terran player from X Team. It is Time. And down to the bottom left is going to be our red Zerg player from Team Liquid. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it if you're cheering on. Snute. Alright, so as we set up into the second game, we'll be waiting to see what exactly is going to be going on in this early stage. I mean, Snute going to open with the hatchery first this time, so I'm not going to go for the pool first like he did last time around. You go for that hatchery first and already change things up slightly. For our Terran player, this is a map where if you want to, you can go reactor expand on. But at the same time, it is nice to get that Reaper out just to see where your opponent is and just get that information. Lots of Snute support coming in from the chat from Lib75. Break, FFS, saying Snute for the win. Some good stuff. Again, Time is one of the better Chinese Terran players. He really is. For 16 years old, he's an absolute monster. If you guys watch any of the Douyu Star Masters, if you watch any of the Lei Feng Cups, and you've seen Time play, you will know he's a player who can win against a lot of good players. He has a very he's very talented. But Snute, of course, has been on top of his game this entire year, really. I mean, he sort of slumps for, like, very small periods at times, so, like, the last couple of events. I mean, not even the last couple of events. Like, I mean, DreamHack Valencia, he got round of 4. And then he just went out kind of quickly to Marine Lord. But, like, he slumps for very, very small periods of time. He has 1 or 2 bad tournaments, and then he just bounces right back and hits, like, a finals or something. As we see this Overlord just moving out onto the map as well. And a Reaper coming on in. And again, it is just Snute. He's been so kind of like consistent throughout the year. And you have to always kind of consider him to be kind of a contender for the title whenever he enters an event nowadays. This game can be said for a lot of the players, and I feel that's very true of the European scene right now, that a lot of players can really kind of take games off each other, and a lot of players can have that good run, which just crowns them the champion. Obviously, some players are more likely to see it than the others. I mean, I'd say Snute's probably one of those guys. He's more likely to make a championship run than other players. But, Snute, Nurcho, Showtime, for example, those sort of players, you expect them to be at the top. But you can also expect players like Marine Lord to have the chance to make it there. He just did it in Valencia. He got to the finals. Players like Euphil, he's got the potential to make it there and win the entire thing, such as IEM Shanghai. And that's what makes these events so interesting for me, because we don't go into this with the clear 3 or 4 people who are probably going to win the tournament, aka the Koreans, like we did for the last few years. We go into this with a bunch of players who, on any given day, can really just play their hearts out and win. Snute making a bunch of Zerglings right now, as we are going to be seeing Pneumatized Carapace on the whip for him once again. So looking as though he might be a little bit aggressive here. Now once again out of our Terran player, we're going to see the exact same build order. And I don't really mind this. This is a good map for this. The multiple bases dropping between them. I mean, he might go for like a different follow-up to this build. So he goes for the initial kind of stim drop. And then he might go for something a little bit different. But hold that thought. Snute made a lot of lings, and he's definitely looking to use them here as he runs on in. There's only 6 Marines on the low ground. No bunker up just yet. Nice pull with the SCVs here straight away to help out. Snute goes around the back to try and get a bit of a better surround, and he does get it. It's already 6 Marines going down. SCVs are falling. And this is really good for Snute. I mean, 6 workers killed. The Marines going down as well means the first attack here out of time is going to be very, very delayed. And maybe not even delayed, but maybe just not as strong, because he's going to have 2 medivacs, but he's not going to have 60 Marines. He's going to have about 8 Marines, or 10 Marines at most. So this is a very interesting scenario as we see just getting in position to kind of block the entire ramp. If those Zerglings got surround again, we'd see even less Marines here available to kind of defend. So that was definitely a good start from Snute. It's one of those things you can do. I mean, just, go up to kind of 20 lings earlier than usual and just boom, attack. And that's just Snute changing things up a little bit here, keeping his opponent, on the edge of his seat, making him think, well, what's next? I'm not, you have to always be aware that Snute can just go for this attack right now. He can go for this attack never and just drone up instead. So you've always got to be on top of your game with Snute, and the Reaper didn't do its job. It didn't spot how many Zerglings there were. And that means that, as we see this run by coming in as well, Snute is going to force time to come back home with this drop. You see an SCV picked up there just to keep it safe. Let's drop back down, but you can just see that, obviously, time is not getting any momentum going his way at all right now. He loads up those medevacs once more. And right now, I imagine this is going to be a little bit different. He's actually going to go into a couple of Hellions starting to build, so I think he's going to go into this sort of 2-base follow-up, which is going to be kind of reliant on, and it's very kind of, the single engineering base is very supportive of that idea. Where there's 2-base follow-up, you just go for a big 2-base attack and maybe Snute over drones, and that's sort of what our Terran player is perhaps hoping for here right now. That Snute over drones, well, he maybe gets some good damage done with these Marines. This run-by, though, gets 2 workers killed. There's killing off another couple of Marines as well. All adds up. This drop over here runs into a whole ton of roaches. I mean, Snute is more than prepared to fight against anything here. And Time's just going to type out GG, actually, right there. He just says, well, you know what? I'm just so